It's like directing your attention onto a cinema screen and saying that that's the entirety of the divine, and you're not understanding that actually it's the light that filters through the projector and onto the screen. It's the light that we're actually trying to experience. If you're someone who's started meditating because you want to feel more connected to the divine or to God, or you're someone that just generally maybe doesn't meditate, but you just want to feel more connected with the divine, you want to progress spiritually and start to merge more with the source from where you've come from. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a blueprint on how you can really develop this connection and develop an unshakable connection with the divine. So let's get straight into it. So the first tool that I want to talk to you about today is focus. Focus is so absolutely essential when it comes to beginning to develop this relationship. And I'd like to give you a scenario that will kind of explain a little bit more about why this is so important. If you imagine that you took someone out on a date and you sat down together for a meal, let's say, you sat across the table from one another and you were just on your phone the whole time, or you were just listening to the music, or you were just spending time looking at all the people around you, it would be impossible. It was not that it would be difficult, it would be impossible for you to develop a relationship with the person opposite you. In order for you to develop a relationship with that person, you have to single-mindedly be with them and be present and be listening and be enjoying the moment. And many of us have probably been there, where you go out with a friend or a partner and the room around you disappears, doesn't it? When you're fully involved in that conversation, that is all that's existing. You're fully present, the room disappears, and your single-minded focus is on one another. This beautiful connection begins to develop, and it's very natural, but the focus is needed. By the way, if you want to learn more about meditation, learn lots of different techniques, be part of an online community, I have an online spiritual and meditation school. It's called the Inner Journey School. I'll leave a link to that in the description. We have lots of classes throughout the week. There's loads of courses and other material inside the school to help you on your journey. So hopefully I'll see you there. And so in the same way that we would develop a relationship with another human being using focus, we absolutely need to be able to develop this in order to develop a relationship with the divine. And so to do this, I'm going to recommend that you take up the practice of meditation. And specifically when I'm talking about meditation, single-pointed focused meditations. And this is basically where you place your attention on one thing and one thing alone. You're not moving energy around, you're not thinking of your heart and then your crown and then something else, or doing some elaborate practice. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just for the sake of developing focus, finding a single point and just gently resting your attention on it and developing this skill, this ability to be single-minded, to be focused. Because once you've got that, you're able then to transfer that ability and that skill onto the divine. You're also actually connecting with the divine in that way through meditation. There are many benefits to it. It will help you both in daily life and also in the meditation itself, because when you're single-minded, when you pin your focus gently onto like a candle, let's say, or the breath, eventually you will lose the room. Eventually you will even lose yourself, and you will just be in a meditative state, which is beyond form, beyond identification. There's a transformation from concentration that will rise you above the senses, and eventually you'll be in a state of meditation. And that is then a type of communion with the divine. So it helps you both in meditation, but also in daily life, and it's absolutely essential. The second is affirmation. And I don't speak about affirmations very often, and I don't mean this in the sense of practical affirmations where you're saying, I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy, or something like that. I'm talking about it in the sense of a closeness with the divine. The way that we do this is by simply altering our state of mind. So many people will say, I'm not close to God. I don't feel the divine. The divine is really far away from me in my experience of it. But often this is just a mentality. So actually by shifting your mentality and changing what you're saying to yourself, i.e. the affirmations, and saying to yourself, the divine is close to me. I can feel the divine's all around me. Of course it is. Everything is the divine. So how can it not be? This arm is the divine. This pen is the divine. This microphone is the divine. There's nothing that's not. I can experience closeness with the divine in every moment because there's nothing that is not that. Kind of looking at your mindset and the ways that you're talking about how you're experiencing the divine, where the divine may or may not be, all of that makes a big difference. And these positive affirmations, I will experience the divine. I am experiencing the divine. The divine is all around me. These are really, really essential. We have to, as spiritual seekers, develop a strong mindset. And I know this is often linked with like personal development kind of videos, people who are into the gym and stuff saying, you need a strong mindset and all of that. That similar sort of approach is very, very applicable to spirituality. And it's often not that the two aren't really linked like that. But in my experience, developing this state of mind of like, I can do this, I will do this, nothing's going to stop me, everything is positive. That is absolutely essential. So the third key, which is arguably one of the most important, is aspiration. Many people will say that aspiration is a desire, and that as a spiritual seeker, desire comes from the ego. And this is a kind of creating a kind of duality, that the desire is actually not good. And if we can actually let go of all the desires and enter that space of nothingness, then that in itself is an experience of the divine. Now, I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but I'm just going to give you my views on this and my approach to this. So for me, aspiration and desire, if it's directed towards the divine, is okay. If we've got massive desires to want to earn loads of money, nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with earning lots of money, but you're directing your mental energy, your focus, away from the divine and onto the material world, which, yes, it is the divine, but it's not the absolute. It's the manifestation. It's like directing your attention onto a cinema screen and saying that that's the entirety of the divine, and you're not understanding that actually it's the light that filters through the projector and onto the screen. It's the light that we're actually trying to experience. In a similar way, as human beings, this life is like the animation on the screen. It's got some reality to it, but what is beyond that? What's created that? How did this come about? That is the part of the divine that we're trying to get close to. So accepting our relative side, experiencing ourselves as being separate and separate body and separate thoughts, and understanding as well that there's an absolute to all of this. So although I have my own thoughts and I feel separate to everything and everyone, on the absolute side of things, everything is the divine. There is no separation. So there's always this understanding that there is a relative experience, but there's also an absolute experience. And directing your desires all for the divine. So saying to yourself, I want to experience the divine. I am the divine. I want to be one with the divine again. I want to experience myself as one with God. All of these will develop aspiration. And because what we want in life, as human beings, we have the power to become or achieve. And as Buddha said, as you think, so you shall become. As you think, so you shall become. That was a famous statement, supposedly, that Buddha made. And that same principle can be applied to the divine. If you think about the divine, if you want the divine, if you set all of your aspirations and your cravings for that union, that will be what you gravitate into your life. That'll be what you bring to yourself, that experience. And this is not something that I'm telling you that I am just sort of echoing from other people I've heard. Yes, many people have told me this and my teachers explain this to me, but I've also experienced this connection and this deepening of this connection by doing these things, by developing focus, by affirming to myself, the divine is always with me, the divine is around me, I can feel the divine, it's never not with me. By developing aspiration, which actually kind of follows along from by affirming to yourself certain things, aspiration develops more. That aspiration is like your fuel. Aspiration is like petrol that you'd put in a car. It's the thing that actually drives you forward, because without the aspiration, there's no desire to want to connect with the divine more, but you need to fuel that aspiration. And you fuel that aspiration by simply dwelling on the idea that you want to be closer to the divine. That is what develops more aspiration, and that aspiration will carry you further. And obviously, all of them need action. So it's no good sort of saying all of these things. Yeah, focus is really good. Yeah, affirmations are great. Yeah, having aspiration is also a really good trait for a spiritual seeker. Unless you put action to these things and actually do things that are going to develop your focus, actually spend time affirming to yourself that you can be one with God again. Develop the aspiration in the ways that I've been mentioning. Unless you put action to it, these things won't develop, or you won't be able to use these keys in order to get closer to the divine. So it's absolutely essential that you do act on what I'm talking about now. You know, making sure that every single day you spend some time meditating. Every single day, maybe you spend some time repeating a Sanskrit mantra. You spend some time sitting down every day and praying. All of these different tools and mechanisms are ways of closing the gap that doesn't actually exist, but we think exists, closing that sense of duality, that sense of separation. And you will gradually feel this connection developing with the divine. And I got to the point where I'd got beyond a lot of the emotions that kind of come in and swept me away for, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then I would come back down to baseline again. And then an emotion would come up at another point in the very, near future, and I'd be swept off again. Once I got beyond all of that and I didn't give them attention, and I got to the place where I had peace of mind, this beautiful sense of love and a broadening of that peace kind of blossomed more, it developed more, and I could feel it more and more and more within me. But it took time for me to get beyond that point. Once that had happened, I was then experiencing more and more of the divine, just by virtue of the fact that I'd kind of tapped into a deeper part of myself. Because ultimately the divine, as I was saying, the light of the divine shining through the projector is what creates the film. And the light of the divine is within each and every one of us. And so we have to look within ourselves to develop this connection. I hope this video today so far has been useful for you. If you have any questions or any comments that you want to share, please let me know down in the comments section. I always love reading through them. But failing that, I'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much.